Hello, good afternoon. It's Thursday the 9th of January. At the moment, it's FA Cup third round day for Everton Football Club. There is a meeting currently taking place to see whether or not the game can go ahead. The sun's out, bits are melting, but obviously it's the surrounding area at Goodison and what the conditions are like there. And we do know that at kick-off time it's supposed to be -3, which is cold.
Chilly.
That's cold. Because obviously if it's wet, then that means that the place will freeze again. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll be guided by them. I mean, just get out with the sand. Sand and grit and lash it all. Dart down to Home and Bargain, grab loads of table salt. And just walk around, drop it.
De-icing.
Yeah, just drop it every
Either sweep it off and cover it in sand, grit, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of football will sort that out.
As long as the grit and the sand's there, it should be fine. But obviously, we'll wait and see. Ped's on the hotline there, ready.
Ped's on statement watch.
He's ready. He's ready for it. This is a game that Everton should win, John.
Who's picking the team?
But Ped has picked it.
Oh, good.
So this is a game Everton should win. So what are your thoughts on it? Because obviously, without being disrespectful, Peterborough are in League One. They're not amazing. Oh, no, it's all of a sudden. And it's got to be an opportunity for Everton to win a game of football, surely. Surely.
I would be so bold.
Stop calling me surely.
Yeah. I would be so bold, Baz, to say win a game comfortably.
Okay.
Because I think every game's a battleground, isn't it? It's all, hold the line, inch by inch, get a nosebleed on the halfway line, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
If this manager can't send them out saying, you're much better than these, just go and batter them, then he is stuck in his ways. And it'd be interesting, actually, although with a bit of jest, tongue-in-cheek and all that, about who's picking the team, but if it's Sean Dyche, his team selection will be interesting. How confident is he to do what you would expect in these circumstances, to perhaps have half the team of fringe players, or will he go with?
Yeah, but will people want half the team of fringe? Like, what would your ideal lineup be tonight?
I don't know.
So there you go. So you can't,
well, no,
you can't have a go with the manager if you don't know what team.
Ask me 10 minutes ago, or
What's he now? Come on.
Well, Virginia will be in goal.
Okay.
Patterson right back. O'Brien.
Okay.
Michael Keane.
I mean, controversial, but carry on, yeah.
Yeah, just a bit provoke, Left back, Ashley Young, so he can come up against his son properly.
Okay.
Harrison will get a game, wouldn't he?
Which one?
First name and surname.
Oh, okay. Both of them will play, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is the team I pick, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the team you're playing, yeah.
So perhaps it's easy to...
So Jack Harrison on the right. So where's Harrison Armstrong? Is he off the striker, or is he one of your two midfield players?
Off the striker, I think he has to be.
Okay.
Then you got to decide if you're gonna who you're gonna have in centre mid.
So you've got, if it's doing it that way, it's Mangala, Garner, and Decore. So two of those three.
Yeah, two of those three. Decore, the one you give a rest to.
Okay. Not a Drisha.
No, Decore needs a bit of form, doesn't he? He should be able to boss the game, shouldn't he?
So you'd rest on a Drisha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then on the left, and Jay.
Yeah.
And then up front, Beto.
Well, it has to be. It's the only one who's fully fit.
But will be on the bench, I imagine.
Yeah.
Although we did train on Tuesday, so we might have trained yesterday, and if he's been fine, why wouldn't he start?
Weather, maybe. Type of weather you don't warm up properly going to cause yourself problems, isn't it?
Let's warm him up properly then.
Well, yeah, lower back and all that, Dom, where's he at?
Ankle injury, isn't
it? Is it? Transfer window's open, yeah.
I'm only going what the man.
You press buttons.
I think the manager said. I think the manager said that he's got an ankle. He's reported.
No, I get it.
An ankle injury.
You press buttons and choose who the camera's on, don't you? I know this is typically there, but a zoom in on Baz just then would have been brilliant.
Why?
Only because your facial expressions were wonderful, Baz.
Thank you.
Like, I'm saying nothing, Tiger.
I don't know. How do I know?
Zoom in now.
How do I know what Dominic Calvert-Lewin's injury state is? I don't know. I'm only going what the manager said. The manager said Dom's turned up with an injury. So I don't know what that means. Surely.
When did Schmidt get injured?
Presumably between Nottingham Forest and...
Is it a splinter in his backside or something? Or,
He's out for a while, though. The manager
Yeah,
said.
it's mad. Totally mad. What are they doing?
You can get an injury.
Oh, clearly,
when
yeah.
you've just come back.
Yeah.
Because you. But yeah, it is.
But not when you have an environment which talks about we don't rush anyone. They all come along slowly, unless you're certain players, and then you come straight back in, type of thing. But we still seem to have reactionary, and yeah, it is normal physiologically. It's normal, isn't it? But he hasn't been stretched, has he? It's not like he's been on in a Premier League game. It shouldn't happen just because you're training. But hey ho, it is what it is.
He's out anyway, John.
He is.
He's missing
Yeah.
for a while.
And then I don't know if there's any fringe player type youngsters you'd pitch up and say give them a crap.
Again.
Yeah, the word, I don't even know what I was trying to say then.
Give him some minutes.
But that's all what we just described, and then perhaps putting some of those so-called youngsters or less frequently played players on the bench all would project confidence that you've got enough to beat a team who are 50 places below us in the league or something. Or he goes, I can't afford to lose whatever, yeah?
Yeah.
And he plays a much stronger team.
Yeah.
In the old-fashioned, put your boys out, get 2 or 3 goals up, in theory, whatever, and then pull them all off and give them a rest of about a week before we play again.
Yeah.
So, happy days, eh, what?
Good. Again, we'll just have to see whether the game goes ahead.
That's the first thing.
That's
we've waffled for 8 minutes there. No one's told us yet. So.
No, because they're only having the meeting now.
That's what I mean.
They don't make
1
a
o'clock,
decision in 30
no,
seconds.
No, it was 1 o'clock, wasn't it, the meeting? And
people in those meetings like the sound of their own voice.
They're just settling down now, Baz, with a cup of tea.
Exactly,
yeah.
So. Exactly. So, yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Be a bit of a bummer, wouldn't it, if it's, to be rearranged.
Will it?
Yeah. Well, not for us, because it'll still be. But for Peterborough fans, I mean, they'll have taken the day off work. They might not have set off yet. Those who might have wanted to have set off early either already have, or on a hope. Others will have said, well, let's delay it a bit till we find out the decision.
At least there's been that information this morning.
Yeah.
For them that it was going to be, there was a meeting at 1 o'clock. So it's still.
Why 1 o'clock? Why not 10 o'clock? I don't know. Midday.
Midday would have, but I don't know. Maybe the temperatures are improved.
Well, that's what I mean. If temperatures are really low right now, then you might argue they're not going to get warmer, are they? So
I think it's like a higher 4 today. I think, but I don't know if that is whether that's going to be it's 4 at the moment and it's sunny.
Yeah.
So
the sun's a big help. Yeah.
It starts going colder. Oh no, we are now. It's only allegedly. It's only going to be 1 degree now.
Yeah.
So last night he was saying it was minus something. 2 or 3 at kick-off.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It's 1.
Well, that's a great.
It's tomorrow's worst. Tomorrow's minus 4.
So so they can because the weekend basically is going to be minus up here, isn't it? Yeah, it's the same where I live.
And they're saying there's a possibility of snow on Saturday.
Did you have snow here this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snow at 6:30 this morning because I was out defrosting my daughter's
Well, I was
car.
doing a school run and it was blizzardy type snow.
School's closed in our road.
Oh, they're not
off.
Yeah. Wow.
Because the road's bad. The road is because it's a small side road. It's off. But
well, schools in Warrington are shut, and yet the primary school's open. So anyway, all good fun. We're just in purgatory again, aren't we?
About the game, yeah.
Well, the game, the manager, this, that, and the other, blah blah blah. We just need a bit of decisive leadership, one way or another. Let's see. We can't keep saying let's see, can we?
They might say they are being decisive.
Well, it needs more effective communication then, doesn't it? Yeah. But the game gives you leeway, doesn't it? Because we think about the game, but come tomorrow, it'll be, we'll be back on that horse, won't we? Of what's going on, our decisions being made. And we've seen Companies House catching up, and we'll talk about this in more detail tomorrow, I suppose, but Companies House catching up with all the financial stuff that's been done. And very enlightening that is too. Obviously, winding up a few shareholders about Friedkin have bought a load of shares for about 175 quid each, which is a bit rough if like some people you paid $3,500 for them as recently as November. But we'll talk about that tomorrow proper. And we've seen how little Mashiri got for his shares. which is less than 25 million quid, basically. But yeah, stuff's going on behind the scenes, that's for sure.
But where are you with that? I mean, what's that? Because obviously I don't pay too much attention to it. There was a lot of stuff that was put out there that we were debt free and all that, but that was obviously just nonsense.
Well, no, I mean,
so where are we with it all?
Well, we do our businessy stuff. Record Friday mornings, it goes out Friday afternoon type of thing. And if you watch that, people, you know that we've said that's not going to be the case, right? But short answer to your question is, ultimately, when it's all washed through and everything's happened, we will have 300 million-ish pounds of long-term, secured, sensible debt. Call that a mortgage if you like, against the stadium, and that'll be it. And for a business, even though we're way too small in turnover times, if that's a 20-year mortgage, if you want to call it that, it's comfortably manageable for the business at the size it is now, and it's going to get bigger.
Yeah.
And we're talking tens of millions of pounds reduction in costs through, extortionate interest rate payments and all those sort of things from your rights and media fundings of this world and others. So you have to read between the lines about what the company's house stuff either confirms if you've been watching us or gives insight to you. But you can see what's been going on, and there's still questions because you still want to know what about this, what about that. But there's some stuff there that makes everything else look a bit more transparent, which is good. Okay. And if you're an Everton fan and you're close and want to know what's going on, then I think we've done a reasonable job doing that, as have others, be it blogists and all those sort of guys. If you're a little bit further away, like Kieran Maguire's of this world, sometimes the tweets and stuff they put out looks like, wow, look what's happened. You think, well, this paperwork we're all seeing on Company's House right now is what happened on the 18th of December. You know what I mean? So it's 3 weeks ago. But yeah, all the things we expected, debt clearance, the big stuff has happened, which is good.
Okay, good.
Very good, in fact. Yeah. Place called Start, as per the Substock article. But the decisive leadership and effective communication bit needs to be done. Because we've talked about it many times, but that's how you manage perception. Either dampen down people's worries or do the opposite, give them a bit of a lift about you're in control, you know what you're doing, just watch this space and all the things you want to happen will happen.
Yeah.
And one of those is changing this manager, and that undoubtedly will happen. So,
according to Alan Myers on Twitter, you'll find out at 2:00 whether the game's going ahead or not.
Okay.
Been out 2:00.
Yeah.
That's presumably the scheduled time of the meeting. It takes an hour or something, maybe. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Which is quite late in a way. If you're sitting in Peterborough thinking
4 hours, someone said, to travel.
Yeah, shall I jump in the car?
Get on your way, won't you?
Yeah, shall I jump in the car or not? In these conditions, normal journey times would be longer.
Will be longer anyway, yeah. Hello to Juan and Gary. Jake says, afternoon lads, everyone knows we're sacking him, so why are we delaying the inevitable? Would make a difference tonight in terms of positivity. Is the severance package dependent on the length of contract left on the deal?
Just over 3 hours, apparently, the journey time by car. So
on normal days, yeah.
The severance package, what was the question, sorry? The details?
Is the severance package dependent on the length of contract of a deal?
Do you mean the manager's contract? Well, yeah, because typically, if you take a view, and football tends to be not like normal businesses, they don't say, actually, we're sacking you because you're not very good, or your conduct hasn't been right, and therefore you're going to have to fight for your notice period, so to speak.
Yeah.
It tends to be termination for convenience by the football club, which means pay up his contract. That's all. End of. Now, what we hope, or I hope, John Blaine hopes, is that paying up his contract is his wages or his salary. Well, there's less than 6 months of those. And if he's on 5 million a year, it's 2.5 million quid. But if he's got any guarantees in that contract about getting paid bonuses for certain things, like staying in the league or whatever, the division, that sort of thing, which he allegedly got last year, he and his people would argue, would they not, that if Everton stay up this season, then as he was in charge for half of it, then he contributed to that, right? And therefore he wants some percentage of that bonus. The football club would probably say, we sacked you because we weren't believing that we were going to stay up, so you're not having it, and you'd have that little bun fight, yeah. But as contractually binding terms and conditions are just that. But it doesn't stop you doing it. It doesn't stop you sacking him, if that's what you want to do. You know, I've heard some people saying, well, you have to negotiate what he's going to get before he goes. No, that's not how it works. But again, when we talked about this offline, Baz, you said, yeah, but this is Everton, you know, and what, you know, it's like poker, or any negotiation. You can only play with the deck you've been given, you know, and if the manager has things in his contract which none of us would expect to see, then that means the incoming people, no matter how good they are at negotiating or making decisions, they'll still be bound by decisions made by the previous leadership. But yeah, if he had 5 years left on his contract, he'd get a lot more money than the 6 months, basically.
Chris Pearson says, please just give me another manager. Stuart says, tonight could begin another trophyless year. That's the positivity right there, Stuart. Matt says, afternoon all, has anyone ever been sacked on the day of a game before kick-off? Asking for a friend. Georgie Redmond says, bring me the one they call Jose. And Hakon says, Everton the only club that try to win the cup with 0-0 matches. Interesting. Jez just seems a futile exercise, this game tonight. Who in the crowd is energised to watch a dead man walking on the touchline? It's just pitiful stuff. I also think it's a bit rough on Dyche. As much as his gaslighting has been infuriating, it just seems a crappy way to see this phase out. Anyway, I still think the Friedkin group are probably trying to ensure they can prove we can spend somehow in this window to a future manager, because surely any new manager would want proof and not just assurances.
Of course. 15 years ago, Baz, I worked for one of the biggest companies in the world on a nice big fat salary, and I was bored out my box. Right,
yeah.
And they were going through a cost-cutting exercise. I wasn't happy. There's no chance that they were going to get rid of me because I was quite good at what I did in those days. But I went to my boss and said, listen, if it helps you, I'll go. But just give me a bag of money and I'll go. Sean could do that. You know what I mean? It's not all on one side of the house. If the manager's uncomfortable, if he knows he's a dead man walking, he should confront constraint and challenge the business and say, listen, if you want me out, I'll go now. But you've got to pay me what I'm due. And I want to go out respectfully and done in the right way and all that sort of stuff. And let's just hope that's the sort of thing that's happened. But if that was the case, it wouldn't be today, would it? Because it's too late now. I mean, for two parties to agree that today is the day that you announce it. So it sounds like if it is going to happen, it'll be tomorrow morning, doesn't it? Unless, of course, as rumours may persist, that it's already happened, we just haven't been told yet.
Ian says, just on the situation with Philogene going to Ipswich, can't blame the lad, really. I mean, who would want to play for this clown of a manager? I've never swore so much as I have in the last few months. Finishes with a go away Dyche, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know whether Philogene has chosen Ipswich over Everton, to be honest. He might, I don't know. I just think, have Everton definitely gone in for him? Who knows? Fabio Romano has suggested we have, but I don't know. I've no idea. But you might choose Ipswich over Everton if you like the way the Ipswich manager plays and you don't like the way the Everton manager plays. Or if you look and go, hang on, I'm only 21 and he doesn't play, doesn't like younger players or whatever.
He's about to be 23.
Doesn't like younger players or whatever, or he doesn't play the way I want to play. You go where it's going to benefit your career. That's what you
get. A phone call from the manager saying, I'm going to play you. Right, that's what footballers want to do, isn't it? They want to play. A phone call from Sean Dyche saying, I'm going to play you. I'm not going to believe him. I'd say, well, what about Nathan Patterson? You're not playing him, are you?
Blue Keeley says, going again today, bought my ticket a few weeks ago thinking he would have been sacked by now. Wanted to watch real football. Harry says, did you see Merson say basically Dyche and Josie are the same? It's shocking that Sky pay for his in-depth analysis. It's like comparing Sophie Vergara and Katie Hopkins. Blue Keeley says, though, also, I don't understand everyone wanting Josie. I feel like he'd ruin us. I hope it ends up. If it ends up him being him, I hope I'm proved massively wrong. And Baz, I'm wearing the same hoodie as you, but in green. Going to represent Toffee TV at the game, although it might be hidden by my coat. It should be hidden by your coat if it's cold. Shouldn't it? Come on, be sensible. But
they are lovely,
nice one, but they are good. They do keep you warm. Harrison. Yeah, I think so.
Sort it, Ped.
Harrison Darby says, I think Young will play only because he's playing against his son. That would be a mad reason to play a player.
It would.
To be honest. Jay says, I hope you both well. I predict dates will be removed tomorrow after tonight's game, if it's on. Then we have over a week to get a new guy in. I mean, we're literally playing on Wednesday, aren't we? So 5 days. I totally agree with Ped that the Friedkin group would need to have someone to step in. I hear they're brilliant at business. So on that, they'll have someone ready to go and presumably won't impact financially relegation. I don't understand the last bit, Jay. But there you go. Bainey says, oh boy, can't believe we're still in this situation. Still feel rudderless. We're not being spoken to anyone other than the manager. No meaningful news from the owners. And this man is still at the helm. 15% win rate, and yet he's still here. The rumour mill in overdrive. There's no real news yet. Again, doing the mental health. Not much good. Thank God for you guys. Yeah, people feel very frustrated, I think, with the quietness of everything, but it's what it is, isn't it? Bill says, has he gone yet? I'm not asked about the game. It's all about a new manager and strengthening. Sad, but that's where I am. Alan Hayes says, 66 today, officially a pensioner, grumpy and pissed off with this manager. Happy birthday, Alan. Happy birthday.
Join the club, mate. Well
Have
done.
a good one. Glenn says, John, people turnover in business can be positive and can avoid stagnation. Blaine. If there is such a thing as a managing bounce, why have we not have an interim and maybe an interim? Could we have a new manager bounce on our way into our new stadium?
It is a real thing because it's happened so often, hasn't it? The reality is, and I'll just stick to what I've said forever, and it's interesting that when I get, people talk to me at often away matches, it comes, apparently, I always want Deitch out, apparently, yeah. But all I want is a manager who's going to get the best out of the players available to him. And he isn't doing that, so get someone who is, yeah. So I would expect us to perform better simply because I would expect, at least initially, each and every player would want to show, not so much that it was the old manager's fault, but that they are capable of more. And I think that's where the bounce comes from. They all do that extra percent, don't they? To new boss, I better show myself in my best light. And as we discussed the other day, 2 or 3 wins in a reasonable number of games, and we forget about relegation. Stick with this manager, and we lose those 2 or 3 games, and it gets incredibly difficult, doesn't it? If you go in that bottom 3. Yeah, and you should never do tomorrow what you should have done yesterday. And I think changing the manager is definitely a yesterday decision. But that's just me.
I think that, again, you should know by now, John, that people will make up anything that you say when they watch it and tell you.
Well, people hear what they hear.
That's it. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, always the best case scenario for Everton is that they just win games.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't need or want to be changing your manager regularly, because you shouldn't, but 2 years is a good sample size to see whether someone's progressing your club, and he's not progressed the club in any way, shape or form. He's had a difficult job, and he's done a decent job to dealing with. He hasn't done a decent job in terms of winning games of football and stuff, but he's done a decent job in coping with what he's had to cope with. But this season he hasn't. He's got a 15% win ratio.
It's awful.
So any manager would be removed, and if people are making excuses, that's on them, because that means that they're prepared to accept Everton as being a team that should be near the bottom fighting relegation. Well, just because, even if you're that person or you're the other side of the thing, you despise this manager and he's the worst manager we've ever had and a stain on the club and everything else that's been said about him, then you both surely agree that the best thing is for Everton to win games of football, and Everton aren't winning games of football.
An ideal season for us would have been, notwithstanding many of us, or I'll just vote for myself, I don't like the way he plays football, right? Is that we're solid mid-table now, have been all season.
No stress.
No stress. New owners come along. Well, we don't have to address the football and start. Good.
Is it?
We don't have to.
The game is on, people.
The game is on. We don't have to worry about the sporting side, so we can sort all this mess out financially, stadiums, naming rights, commercial income, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Get that done by February, March, and then we can spend the last 2 or 3 months getting ready for next season. That's it. But no, because we've won half the games West Ham have won, and they've dismissed the manager because it wasn't good enough, right? And when I said that yesterday, when the announcement come, of course you get all the non-Everton fans. Your only objective was avoiding the championship, staying in the division, and so on. And you could tell people, guys, we finished above these, we finished above that, in points won last season. And I think the real stain on what Dyche has done is, if he's to be given plaudits for what happened last season, then this is what you could have done this season, unless there's really good reasons. And if everyone accepts that, he's right, and actually he performed miracles last season, and this is the real level, then that's not where we all were at the beginning of the season, is it? We looked at a squad that in broad terms might have had more depth. 1 or 2 players have gone, but starting the season, we talked about it. It was how many points above 48 is he going to get, or whatever. And you look at Nottingham Forest and Brentford in particular, 2 teams who in points won finished below us last season. Look where they are. Well, Forest haven't spent huge amounts of money now because they spent so much before, right? And Brentford, I don't know what Brentford have done, but it's just that Thomas Frank has sorted the home form out and they've won loads of games type of thing. But we seem to have started off doing that. Well, we're all going to be manning the battlements again. It's all going to be hard and difficult again, and you get self-fulfilling prophecies, don't you? And we are where we are as a consequence. So.
Yeah. A few people thought you said he's gone then, Pet. Lots of people were celebrating.
A pretty high, and then
Detective Riggs said, I gutted. I honestly thought Pet had said he'd gone.
But the game's on anyway, for the avoidance of doubt.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, Boxy's just told me. Game's on, thank you. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Bainey says, massive dump of snow in Pwllheli. Hopefully that doesn't head to Merseyside. It's not heading up today. It might get here tomorrow or Saturday. Saturday, I think, is tomorrow's going to be really cold, so it's like Friday night into Saturday. They reckon there might be snow, but we'll have to wait and see. Ian says, Baz and John, do you think he's lost the players now? It's clearly looked that way in the last 2 games.
It's very subjective, isn't it? Yeah. Like managers want to win football matches, so do players. Yeah. But yeah, there comes a collective, doesn't there? Because it is quite a competitive league. If you're playing a team who aren't as good as you, but you're 1% off, then it gets closer. If you're 2% off, and it's a problem, isn't it? So that extra yard type stuff is what the marginal differences is what we see. So
Chris Bairn says, hi John, am I right in saying the estimated figure for match day income turnover in Bramley Moor Dock will be £55 million?
Yeah, call it 50-ish, yeah. And it's 20-ish at Goodison. So more seats, more expensive, huge uplift in hospitality type places, which as we know are rather expensive.
Dixie Dean Howgate says, hi, all just seen on must be Sky Sports News saying Dyche took training today, never knew he trained on the same day.
Be light, wouldn't it?
I think it means he's in the building, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Jay says, big window for our director of football. We have positions within the squad that need urgent attention, and apparently still after midfielders and right backs. He has a big world to choose from, but seems to find a way of going after what we don't need. Yeah. Bainey says, the urgency of this situation has surely changed the long-term plans TFG had. Took West Ham 6 months to make a decision on a manager. Why are we still stuck with this dinosaur? the Friedkin group or Managerial should have done this.
I think Managerial was probably ready to do it, wasn't he?
Yeah. Dan W says Josie is one of the greatest managers in world football. Some of these Dyche comparisons are a disgrace. No idea if he's the right man, but he dislikes the RS and will bring a much higher standard to the club. Lots of good managers out there, please, just not Southgate.
Head wants Southgate. As long as he wears a suit of armour.
Yeah. It's a shame, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You wanted a knight, didn't you?
Well, that's David Moyes and he's an OBE.
What about daylight games, though? Don't just play at night, do we?
That's young. Everton Viking says, I'm just at the point where I don't think he's getting sacked anytime soon. They will sack him this season, but they'll probably be in an even more difficult position to replace him. I don't see the logic in what they're doing, but here we are. Who would you pick out of Moyes or Mourinho, John?
I think that's quite a difficult shout. I like excitement. I'd take Mourinho, me. I mean, he's a shock jock.
Box office.
He's box office, yeah. He's got a huge reputation to protect. You know, wins things. Not that I'm saying he'd come along and do 18 months and win something. But would Moyes? No, I think, you know, if you were trying to get players over the line, playing for Jose Mourinho would have clearly give more of a boost than certainly Dyche. Almost certainly Moyes as well. I'm actually an advocate of don't go back to managers who've been here before. They're familiar. I mean, I've seen people saying, "Oh, he knows the place. He knows." Mate, he's been gone forever in footballing terms. Yeah, physically the training ground is still in the same place, and the football ground's still in the same place, but it doesn't mean it's the same, right? But both are a significant upgrade on the current manager, aren't they? So,
okay. Jake says rather have Moyes than Mourinho, less money, less drama. Everton Viking says I look forward to the day when he's gone and we can talk about the future and have some excitement and positivity again.
We can talk about the future now. The future's bright. It's just that it's a bit dark. Put that light on, James. Yeah.
When you've actually got a player choosing Ipswich, I'm not going to read it, Steve, because he didn't. Matt says, regarding signings, that's secondary interest to me as I want a manager who can maximise what we have. Half the squad would be like new signings anyway, either by actually playing or playing in their right position. Buck says, what do you think will happen tonight if Everton lose? Hope it doesn't, as my wife is coming as my carer and she has been for 20 years and might run on the pitch and head for Dyche and we'll catch him.
It's not, well, hey, if we lost tonight, full house, I think Sean would still be in the ground at midnight. Yeah,
but we're not going to lose tonight.
No, we're not. Of course we're not.
Evan Viking says, although Josie would undoubtedly be better than Dyche, I don't want him. I don't see a world where the Friedkin group would either. I want a forward-thinking manager who likes to press and attack. I'm done with pessimistic football, personally. Steve P
so
says,
who would that person have?
Anyone else? Paulo Fonseca, very good. Roger Schmidt's available. Good.
Both of those would be good.
Go and be brave and go off there. You know, Top Muller in Germany or even Thomas Frank if you really want to be brave. What about Moyes with Lee Carsley?
It's a nice duo, isn't it?
With Carsley.
The future man. Yeah.
I mean, that's to go all right, obviously, to stay here. But
yeah. Does Cars want to be the number one?
No idea. Steve P says if it does end up being Mourinho, I think that'll be me officially checking out. Going from Dyche to Mourinho will be the ultimate nightmare. I want the complete polar opposite. Why can't we just operate like a normal modern club for a change?
So that's saying Dyche is a kind of manager and Jose just a bit, but the same. That's what that's implying, isn't it? Yeah,
I think he is. He's a pragmatic manager, isn't he?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Mourinho. He's not Dyche, obviously, he's miles better, but... Matt says, I actually think it's cruel that the club are keeping him in post. The longer this goes on, the more abuse and anger he's going to get. Indecisive yet again.
True.
Just add to that, it brings out the worst in the fan base. They're rightly frustrated, and that all feeds into the wider narrative.
That's also true.
Brian Ball says, game on Peterborough to score first. David says, afternoon, gents, from a mile Cyprus. Let's hope the taxi for Dyche is on its way. Maybe that's what it is. The roads around Finch Farm are frozen or something, and the taxi can't get through.
I think Sky should have Vinny out there just for a giggle.
He's at Goodison, apparently.
Is he? All right. Wait to see him walk through the door with a big grin on his face, you know.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Imagine you're Sean Dyche, though, and the full expectation is you're going to get sacked, and you're a bitter and twisted so-and-so. And the average age of our starting 11's 12 tonight, you know, which he could do.
Can't be, because you have to get special dispensation.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, 18 then.
That'll be all right.
And they win 5-0. Look what you could have
devastated. Steve says, how is Jose Mourinho one of the greatest managers in football? If that was remotely true, what's he doing in Turkey? No, but he has been, Steve. He has. I think he has been. I don't think, even whether you like him or you don't want him.
His best days are behind him, though.
But he's been one of the greatest managers.
Yeah.
Ian the Blue says we should be going for Christophe Galtier or Carsley. Be difficult to get him out the FA. Adam says, I have no issue with Mourinho. He certainly would hold those above to account and would have no issue letting the world know about it instead of the stuff being brushed under the carpet. He's already had a go with the Friedkins and it didn't end well. That's why I just don't see it personally, but who knows? But he doesn't seem to be someone who goes back to something that he hasn't liked, although he did go back to Chelsea with Abramovich. But I don't know. Carl Byron says Dyche probably talked his way into keeping him in the job. This man can sell snow to an Eskimo. The Friedkin should sack him without appeal. James says, hi, gents. John, how long before the club will be free from PSR? John doesn't know the transfer budget, mate. But
from August. Because PSR's gone in August. Squad cost control. I think, next financial year would be fine. All gets easier, doesn't it? Bad years fall off, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
We've hardly spent money though, have we? It's been the stadium, hasn't it? That's been the thing around our neck.
Yeah, and the thing about sorting out, if you like, the non-sporting side around decision making and those sorts of things is there is going to be a significant uplift in income in the new stadium. There's going to be a significant reduction in costs through the refinancing exercise. And then you've got an anticipated improvement in commercial performance, plus the new stadium naming rights, which if they pull that one off, that'd be really cool. And I think the real worry for me would be all these new riches, if you want to look at it that, have to be spent wisely. You know, and it could get really, really positively exciting if people who know what they're doing are in the right jobs at the right time, and the restrictions that the current people have to suffer back against the wall type stuff are no longer there.
Yeah.
You know,
Dave Murphy on the super chat says keeping Dyche on is like playing a player woefully out of form and at the end of their contract who the fans no longer want.
We'd never do that.
It's abhorrent. We give them extra year.
Imagine a player saying for like a year or more, I'm out, leave me out. So it's like the Dragon's Den, isn't it? I'm out. And then when they can't find anywhere to go, they go, well, actually, if you get rid of this manager, I'll stay. What do you do then?
I know what Everton do.
Decisive leadership.
I know what other clubs should do.
Yeah, decisive leadership. There's the door, lad.
Everton probably should give you 10 times what we offered you.
Yeah, and twice as long a contract as well. And £1 billion for every goal you score, which we know we're not going to have to spend. Yeah.
You're hinting at someone there, John.
Just 2 or 3, probably. But we have to laugh because we're just padding, mate, yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, what are you thinking about tonight then? There can't be. Surely Evertonians aren't worried about this game.
No, we have to go out, just play the game that we're far better than they are, which we are. I mean, okay, you get the romance of the FA Cup and all that sort of stuff, and occasionally miracles happen. But Peterborough need a miracle, a big miracle to win. There's no getting them back to their lovely little ground somewhere and scaring them, to death with passion and all that sort of stuff like the good old days. Yeah. So part of the destruction of the competition is that those romantic things of let's just avoid defeat at this place and get them back to ours.
There is a replay though, isn't there?
No.
Oh no, it's penalties, isn't
Straight to penalties, not even extra time, is there? Just straight to penalties.
Fair play.
So you balance that you can't get them back to our place, but if we can hang on and be level at 90 minutes, then you get the so-called lottery of who takes penalties better. Yeah, and that's where the giant killing is going to come of the future, isn't it? It's all in penalty shootouts.
Could be tonight. Steve P. Everton will win tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Steve P says he has been, but Benitez was the top manager at one point. Football moves on, I just can't bear watching that type of football. Yeah, I've got no issue with that, mate. I'd go for Paulo Fonseca personally. Yeah, that's who I'd go for.
Yeah, you never give me that choice, but I would, yeah.
He's a good manager.
And we've talked about him before, haven't we?
And he's worked for them, and albeit they changed them at the end of the first season he owned the club, but they were sixth, Roma.
Yeah.
His record's just under 53% win ratio, which is better than any Everton. Probably any manager Everton can get right now. Bainey says, adding to the frustration, a lot of fans are going to think we missed out on Potter when we don't know if we were very much. We were in for him, but then we pulled away from it, which is why he's the West Ham manager, but that's fine.
There is extra time tonight.
Oh, is there? Yeah. Oh, I thought he went straight to penalties.
I was going to say, because the last round I watched Reading were playing someone in the non-league, and that was a game, then it went to penalty.
Okay.
Reading
is it later on in the competition? They haven't got to the third round yet. Is that the Carabao Cup? Okay.
Yeah, them. They drew 3-3 and then went to extra time. Reading beat them 5-3, didn't he? Adam says, I'm gutted about Potter, but think it's more about the style of football it could have been, more than him personally. David says, morning gents, I'm convinced Josie could start a coup. Pretty much sure the majority of the fan base would be galvanised by his us against the rest press conferences. Not sure he's right long term, but would be interesting.
He's a shock jock.
Chris Burns says, I wouldn't turn my nose up at Josie. Granted, he has a reputation for being divisive, and he's not the long-term manager we need, but there's no point denying his incredible CV. Winning the Champions League with Porto, the last club outside the top 5 European leagues to win it. Over 100 points with Madrid, won back-to-back titles with Chelsea, delivered the treble with Inter, recently won the Conference League with Roma and got them to the Europa League final. The list goes on and on. That, in comparison to Deitch, is hilarious. If you think it's true, you need to find a different sport because football isn't for you. That being said, Terzic remains my number one right now. Great CV considering his first job at Dortmund, and I'd expect he'd be able to bring some of that culture of Dortmund to Everton. Everton Viking says, I mean, the bar isn't even that high on who'd be better than Deitch. I'd even bet Martinez got more wins than Deitch. I'm mostly joking and wouldn't have Bobby back at all. I still think we could get Knudsen, Schmidt, Kovac or Carsley.
You go to Fonseca, because I was just looking while you were talking. 5 different jobs in the last 10 years, and his win percentages always started with a 5 or bigger.
Yeah.
And in different leagues as well. Maybe he knows what he's doing, Baz. You think?
You think so?
Yeah.
Looks like. But again, very much like footballers, Everton don't seem to understand this. Managers outside of the UK. Bainey says, just adding to what John said about spending wisely the extra income. These things won't be there if we're not in the Premier League. That's the scariest outcome if they don't do something soon. Matt says, a quarter of the window's gone already and Thelwell has less than 6 months on his contract. Is there a correlation here? Are we going for a double appointment? Don't know. Steve P says, I'd have Fonseca or Abel Ferreira, both similar managers. Sergio Conceição was my first choice from the start. Yeah, and he was available.
You liked him, didn't you?
This record was good, wasn't it? And Stephen says, this game tonight has got Ian Bogie written all over it. And for those that can't remember that one, been here many times with Everton. The Al Poor fail. Then we got Steve Guppied off in the replay when we were FA Cup holders. Didn't learn our lesson from the round before against Stockport, who drew 2-2 at Goodison, and we had to beat them at Edgeley Park 3-2. John Ebrell,
Yeah.
for the late strike.
You're talking about managers there, Portuguese ones, right? And I remember when I was first living in Lisbon, I lived for 2-3 years, and I had a real problem saying Conceição. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you see it written down, you think, how the bloody hell do you say that?
Yeah.
And one of my team, a lady, that was her first name, she had to teach me. And now here's you just tripping it off your tongue just like that.
Well, I can do it all, John. David Murphy on the Super Chat says, what are your thoughts on Michael Carrick?
Haven't seen enough.
Don't know.
Haven't seen enough. He's English.
Hang on, I've got to take LCC MD7 slightly to task here. Says I'd have Carsley before Carrick, no issue with that one. But Carsley got found out at England.
What?
I mean, he literally won. He had 6 matches in charge and won 5 of them. And he lost 1 by playing the team that everyone wanted him to play.
He decided to be a bit,
I don't agree with that, mate. I'm sorry. Will Sniff says Breuer's not fit. Dyche said he was fit, so I don't think he'll start, but I think he'll be in the squad. Carishcab says getting Josie is still making us defensive. I like someone young and play attacking football. I'd take Gary O'Neill. The Wolves fans weren't having him whatsoever, were they?
No.
And not the way he played that defence at Goodison against us. No. Jacob Frost says, would you re-sign Hammers?
No.
As much and as romantic as it is, he's not played, has he? He's gone to Spain and hardly played.
He's been everywhere.
Yeah.
He's a gunslinger.
If he comes for like 20 grand a week,
plus
and you have him in your squad,
big bonuses for doing stuff,
then maybe.
And he has to work at Christmas. Yeah.
Brian Garside says, I stayed off Club Call yesterday as it would have developed into a serious rant and YouTube might not have been too happy. Sean Dyche has been out-coached by every opponent, even lower division clubs. He's not Premier League material. I maintain that we win despite him and not because of him. I give him last season's derby victory, but not much otherwise. How anyone wants Josie is beyond me. He's anti-Everton manager regarding his style. And Steve P says, found out in what way regarding Carsley. It's ridiculous, that, isn't it? And then says, reckon we'll play the classic 4-5-1 tonight. Yeah, because that's what we do, don't we? That's what we do. Classic long ball 4-5-1. Let's see. Beto is still here for today's game. Ian, this quite possibly will be his last appearance.
Right. You reckon he's going to it?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of interest in Italy, isn't there? And Torino really want him and trying to get a deal done. So, I mean, it might not. It might not. And obviously, if Dom's injured now, Everton might be like, he's going nowhere. But you just wonder, if it might be. But then again, if Everton changed the manager, a different manager might like him, mightn't he? Different manager might go, I can use him, actually, if we play this way, whatever. Don't know. Eddie says, thoughts on us being linked to the new sporting director from Bournemouth?
It's not that new.
I don't think it'll happen. Worked for TFG before. But he looks like his reputation looks good, so I wouldn't be against it, but it seems unlikely because he's done it before, but I don't know. Graham Rogers says, Peterborough are used to facing hoofball in League One. No, there's clubs play better football in League One than what we've played at times this season.
So they're all young managers, Baz, who've sort of learnt their stuff in the last 3 or 4 years, not the last 20.
Yeah. Sophie says she's not having Dom as injured.
Sophie knows. The Oracle.
Don't know, Soph. That's what's being reported. You can only take it all at face value, can't you? If you're told he's injured, isn't he? If that benefits him later down the line because he hasn't played for Everton and he can move somewhere else, then that's up to him, isn't it? You know, we had Anthony Gordon yesterday saying, I played in a stupid, pointless cup game for Everton and it cost me like playing at Wembley for Newcastle last time. I'm like, oh, that pointless cup game was a Carabao Cup game at Bournemouth when you were an Everton employee playing for Everton Football Club. And you were pointless in the game, mate, because you were terrible.
We say the same about Pienaar.
No, but Pienaar didn't play many minutes, did he? Where Gordon?
Pointless game to us, though.
You can't be. Nobody you would have just said, surely, or what he should have really said was, I'm a bit gutted that I featured in a game that, you know.
They didn't need me.
Well, not they didn't need me, but I featured in a game and it cost me a chance to go to Wembley, so I'm a bit gutted that I wasn't involved last time, but I'll make up for it this time or something. I don't think you can call pointless cup games fit when you're an employee of that football club. I do if they bring you on for like 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah.
That to me, I've never understood.
No, I've never understood.
When you know that them players are going and you bring them on for... That to me is nonsense, but... Although, let's be honest, that rule is absolutely pathetic anyway.
It is.
If you buy a player, it shouldn't matter if he's played in the last
competition
round.
already.
It's just nonsense. Utter nonsense, isn't it?
I don't know what's supposed to be protect, you know.
Well, it was because it was to stop people buying players when the deadline day was the end of March. So buying a player for a semi-final or something, but if you're not playing against that, what difference does it make?
No, I understood it back in the day when you could buy players when you wanted.
It doesn't really make any difference, does it? If he's your player, you've paid money for him and he's your player. It's the same really with loan players. You can't play against your parent. Why?
Well, that's because it's a suggestion that it might sport and integrity type stuff.
Biggest competition in the world. You can do it. James Rodriguez scored at the Bernabeu when he was a Real Madrid player for Bayern Munich. Phil Coutinho.
I know. Yeah.
So that to me is
it's old fashioned.
I remember when we had Franny Jeffers on loan and he could play in the Premier League and he had we were getting beat by Arsenal, Goodison, and he had the shot which the keeper parried and Franny Jeffers had the shot, keeper parried, and Thomas Radzinski equalised at the Park End. We drew 1-1 with them. And they asked Wenger about it after the game and he was like, got zero issue with it. He plays for Everton this season. He's an Everton player. And they were like, oh yeah, but he's an Arsenal. Like, Everton have signed him and are paying his wages. He's their player. Doesn't matter whether or not we own him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never understood it. It always seems a bit mad, but there you go. There you go. Right. The game is on. The game is on. So get yourself down to Goodison Park. Get
your coat on. Or as Baz asked yesterday, how many coats?
How many coats? Get some big, thick socks on and get down to Goodison and watch the Toffees turn in a vintage 800 passes. Total football like Holland in 1974.
Watch my starting 11 show, tell them, because my team is revolutionary.
Go and watch.
Unbelievably good.
Go and watch
Unbelievably good.
Starting 11. It's good. It's interesting. So go and have a look.
Good one.
Go and have a look.
I'm watching it. You convinced me.
It's good. Go and check it out now, Ped, starting 11. See if you agree with that team. If they're all fit, would you play that team? Go and watch it. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Like, subscribe, do all that. We'll be on More Than a Game at 2:15. No. Get on More Than a Game. And we'll talk about other. Come over if you're an Evertonian, because Liverpool lost the game last night. And we can have a chat about it. And if you're a Red, come over and tell us why you shouldn't have lost the game. Right. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.